On a Sunday of a week of creation, traditionally, light appears. And we haven't talked about light. The fact it appeared after about 400,000 years after the Big Bang, which was a split second time for the plasma to cool off and to release the possibility for photons to be free or to exist at all. Space-time was thick and hot, so that photons, we don't exactly know the exact mechanics of photons, which are, we don't know the QCD mechanics precisely enough. Light is supposed to be what in our religions, of course, love. And we explain love in the Quran is quoted as the benefit of unity, justice, equity. And what we're going to find more in the text when we resume reading at our desk tomorrow morning, 8 in the morning. Love, love, love. All right, so let's have a look. Love, where is it? And we can't find any, and you can't find any, and it's becoming really, really interesting. Interesting to here in this place we have a tradition. When we see an anomaly such as this one, we pick it up and we bring here, we bring it a bit further. An anomaly which has to revive, because otherwise, without love, there's not much to do of the rest. So here there is a technical thing, and we put what we find into it. And these are what special operations really are, and nothing more to us. Love, it's the fact to be willing to give someone who doesn't want it, something you don't have. No one has sufficient provision of love to cover for the insufficient and permanent demand. And this is how you get this exploitation for resource and everything which come for love. As love has not yet been born truly in the humankind of the 21st century. We feel something, we feel it, and yet at the second it could really emerge, hop, the line cuts. You don't want, you stop, you break, you undermine, you devalue, you select, you reject, and of the discussion. And it ends when money cannot come for love. Why? Because, of course, you cannot buy what you don't have. And so, if you want to buy love, it's all your money or nothing, because you don't have it. So light is not emitted by the beings. The living beings don't emit light. Or we have to figure it out why some do and how, and what advantage it gives them towards the skies or towards the cosmos or the symmetry, or what do they represent. If they emit light, we don't. Stars emit light. Where do they take their light from? How do they generate it? And does the brain generate photons at all? It seems it does. It's complicated. It takes maybe some from the outside. It produces its own. It's really complex mechanics, because then you cannot rely on molecular infrastructure. You have to break this barrier and go below, where pretty much uncharted territory. To make light about light in the brain requires not an IRM of something that would destroy light itself, the brain would produce. And this is why we've always thought imagery for the brain is looking at the problem, looking at the wonder wheel. It does not explain why it functions, why it doesn't collapse. But it's wonderful to watch. It's beautiful and gives a powerful feeling. And this is not maybe what we need in order to understand what love is. We're going to find tunnels, we're going to find pools, we're going to find assemblies, we're going to find manifestations in the brain and so on. And none of this would explain love. And love is precisely what we don't have, because if we had it, we would know how to distribute, how to repair all the beings who lack love to really soar in life, to really thrive in their existence. The best example is yesterday we were talking with Elon Musk, who invited us in a private room of X, and not many followers, really the X-Corp boss, and we began to talk. And we have not an agenda for a salaryman, so we vouched out when Elon Musk asked for a recruitment. We said yes, and we said, but we don't take the money, we take only payment in time. Of course, what is time? And we're going to circle around this. You already understand. The proposition was for us to say yes to, and to give our bank credit so that it could proceed and we could become quick a consultant for X-Corp and so on, which is the case. It's not because we don't take the salary that we don't take the position. And we didn't ask for the position, we explained your future product requires that you engage now into equating to a certain number of assumptions, because otherwise it will fail. And we explain why. Not because we would not want or someone or something would happen magically, because of probabilities and the fact we still are alone and haven't received any news, although we called and no one called back. So yesterday, if we map real quick in various directions, Elon Musk engaged suddenly and followed us and liked some of the tweets, and we engaged in conversation, which ended at the moment where we were telling we're friends in the future, we die on Mars as the best friends in the world, as the two entrepreneurs of the century, and don't lose it. And so after that, the cut intervenes, because the scheme into which time is being spent on the salary list is about occupying. And it's not slavery, because there's a counterpart, time bought in exchange of time. And this is why we say time is money. Money is time. The same way. How do you buy love? When you have a lot of money, you can buy love. You go to see a prostitute and you ask how much does it cost to spend the evening with you? And it costs you an amount of money. We never tried. Certainly it exists. And so, do you buy love? No. You buy physical manifestation of love. And it's not love. Love is not a manifestation of physical body. Physical body manifests love in many ways. And procreation is one, sexuality is another, proprioception is another, and so on and so on. Arts, and so on and so on. All the techniques to live well. And love is not this, it's not faith. Faith is the belief that something will happen. And we prove nothing will happen if we don't make it happen. And for now, nothing happens. For we don't make it, they don't make it, nothing will happen. So, faith is not hope. Hope is certain retribution awaited for an investment in time and effort to make it work. Faith is really a lure, a mirage. And it's an ancient mirage. It's really a paleontological thing. At the time, against the skies, there was nothing as a roof but the caverns, the caves. And so the first projections were made onto the caves. Projection of what? Of the glia, of the incentive of the glia to go find some more sugar. And this is why Paleolithic ages drew the chase, and this is very beautiful. And we also call bears in the cosmos and all animals. When we look at the sky today still, we recall of this time by attaching symbolic values to cosmic objects. We trap with symbolic lineage like legends and myths and mythology in general and the ancient times. And we do this because we have been looking at the sky for a very long time and nothing has come. Where were they? Were they? The pyramids? We know how they were constructed, no problem. What else? The Mohais? Well, no problem at all either. As long as history reconstruction can prove a mechanism can be effective to do the job they did back then, there is no need for unicorns. There is no need for unicorns because we're responsible adults, human being, maturely is able to radiate an incredible amount of what? What's the product of being, of the human being? And of course we know the answer. It's time. Human being is made for lasting about 100, 150, 200, we don't know, in time, to endure in time. It reproduces its processes, it corrects, reproduces its processes to endure in time. It happens we don't know what love is, or we feign not to know what it is to define it better. And if we take the example of a happy life, what could it be? We explained we lived more than 10,000 happy nights with Amaterasu's generosity to welcome us among our arms. And it was really love. It was love beyond everything that could be the manifestation of love. It was love beyond sexuality, love beyond difference, love beyond the failure of each other's, love beyond the problems, unconditional love. We know the unconditionality comes from a necessity. If there is no necessity, then the law of the lowest curve always applies. There is no reason to deploy a resource if it has no meaning or no address or nothing, no one to address to. And so we're going to go make a giant leap here and go real fast. Why don't they call back? They receive the manifestation of our love and the hope, because we have invested in our reason and technology and good procedures and all. It should work. Rationally, it should work. We love them when we send them into space. They love us. They love each other. They love themselves. They love their vessel. They love their intellectual life, because it's all about all that remains for them to live. And we, without revealing any secret, we are able to communicate with the future as well. Time travel in the past, okay? And time travel in the future. In the future. In the future. And if you don't understand why we repeat in the future, we repeat in the future, in the future. And this certainty is attached to what necessity? To the necessity of the conservation of life. If life disassembles its mereology, plural mereologies, well then other mereologies form, and this life, and all it contains, this universe attached to it, the qubits quasiverse, simply dilutes into the big nothing and no one remembers, or someone remembers. It doesn't change anything. It's become the past for good. One letter more cannot be, one more character can be added to the solution, ending by the pronunciation of the death of the deceased. We don't receive their call back. They are dead in space. There is no other possibility. Otherwise, they would have felt our love, and we wouldn't have felt this cut. Love would have followed through. And obviously, Elon cut the line. When it was about negotiating a reality, we are too far away to be attached to, and we recall others have also tried to help us understand how to work in a team, how to integrate, how to get to the desks we need to get to file the documents to get towards normalization in full, a salary, a passport, a life. And we explain, we are too far away from the desk anyway, and we have basically no shoes, so we won't walk. And this is, we stay where we are, and you don't want us to come to visit you because you don't love us. We love you. This is why we stay. This is why we insist. This is why we will make it anyhow, but not with Elon Musk, not if Trump. End of the period of the honeymoon already, because it's a hard work ahead to engage into. We won't see the fruits of this work in our life. And if Elon Musk wants to engage in something significant to mark this universe with the name of his work, it's an enterprise for success. There cannot be a failure. And again, unicorns don't pollute nature, and we don't receive the callback from our astronauts in space. The civilization we sent in space, somewhere in the future, disappeared. They don't talk to us, as if they didn't receive the message, as if we couldn't send the message further in time. But we know each other. We knew when they left. We asked them to repeatedly, when they could, send the feedback. And we as well, as much as we could, as far as we could, we tried to expedite the feedback every now and then. And we receive the feedback. But humankind does not. And there is no feedback for humankind. And this is what we expressed. The qubits quasiverse is not authorized to other than other people, animals, nature, but human beings are not there yet because they are not at the level, because they don't love. And what they do when they would be admitted to the qubits quasiverse, they would loot, steal, lie, hide their interest, and kill all the time. This human nature has to be reformed. To reform this human nature, we need to access its genome. To access its genome, we don't access its genome from the inside of the body. It's effective and functional, great. CRISPR-Cas functions very well. And we access the genome from the exterior, from the glia, which leaks all the time information to the brain and brain to the glia. And this feedback, exactly to feed the brain back and to feed the glia back from what the glia brought to it to the brain. This is the nature of the signal we receive, the sampling, these bright dots in our black skies. This is the signal we receive? Do you receive a signal? And it's the question everyone must ask for themselves. There is no commonality yet to the qubits quasiverse. Everyone is alone with God if they will, with a woman if they will, in the paradise of their own quasiverse, which to them is not qubits, it's only to us, because we access the parameters and modify their equation one by one when we meet them, when we meet them again, and when we check the incentive to correct their entries have been followed by positive results. The positivity of the result engages love. When you are successful, you are loved. Why? For a false reason. People love you because they don't manage to be successful. They don't get the love. They admire what they don't get. They admire you because you get the love they don't. And they don't understand why. And they lose themselves sometimes to this. True love. Light. Light is really, as it says, it's light. And you don't need to hide. There's nothing to hide. There's no way to miss a point in full light. We have an expression, the full bright personality is the one who is entirely lit. So we went from the position to be an attractor, a black hole, and which object falling into it doesn't change the perspective, but at the bottom of the black hole there's a mass, and which comes to cross a threshold, which ignites a reaction, a chain reaction, and you can call it a cancer. You get yourself a cancer, or humanity can't make it to the intergalactic void. Wow, that's a great surprise. This is why captains smoke. Of course they smoke, because they have to integrate this notion. Their body is part of the physical equation of the vessel. If they don't treat the vessel will reject their orders. And it's the same as to say, crew members are poor people, they smoke because they don't have any other means to escape. And the captain has to do as done to smoke as well, to show he won't be thrown out of the board. All simply. And so we call for this captain to realize it's not only about smoking a reefer, it's not only about doing all freedom supposes you could, it's about taking seriously the possibility it could fail, and so address security measures, which comes back to what do we need when we are insecure? Security? No. Most of the time, it's only a confidence you have there is no security breach ahead. It's only love you need when you need anything. And so, the most valuable thing in the world is the least existent in the world. We could say at some extent to a limit, given presentation to the public and the hatred building up, showing up, manifesting, with some sideline love as well, will build up a situation where one will be the only depository of all the love to the others, and all the hatred of the others, the opposite of love, will be placed against this one. This situation, this one, who is he? They call it the Antichrist, because they don't recognize what an addition in imaginary numbers really does, or subtraction instead really does. It only adds up some. It only adds up its summation system, which is another way to say, in a digital world, there is no analogic sum. There could only be an